Okay, we are live. Hopefully you can hear me. I am in downtown Covington right now. Have a microphone. Hopefully that'll help. We've got the cars going by, and right behind me is the Southern Hotel. So I was trying to do this from my phone. You can see I got a little setup there, but I couldn't get it to go sideways. So I don't know if I was a tech person, maybe I'd be making $1 million in Silicon Valley. But here I am. So got the laptop. I don't have anything to set it on, so it's just on my knees. Got a beautiful oak tree behind me though. So today I wanted to talk about managing employees and three keys that I've learned. So when I came into this business 3 years ago, it was a nightmare. It was just the guy that was running the business before me was using the systems that he learned at a competitor who I won't name. And, I didn't realize at the time, but basically it was a churn and burn model of employees. Pay as little as you could, don't do anything for them. Just, pay as little as you could to get someone to show up, and then try to deal with the customer complaints and all the issues that come from that at the management level. So it's a terrible way to live your life. I certainly didn't enjoy it. None of my employees enjoyed it. Nobody was happy. The customers weren't happy. I was miserable. Employees were miserable. And we've completely changed that. Things are so much better now. Most of the employees I have been with me, coming up on a year, going on years for some of them now. And so wanted to talk today about the three big things that I learned and what took me from hating my employees to, and not just them, but, my business really, and dealing with them, to really being in a much better place. Nothing is without its headaches. Things still come up, but it's 10 times better. And I know that in your office, you probably deal with managing employees and the issues that come up. So I thought this was something you could hopefully relate to. So the biggest thing that I thought I learned, it wasn't the actual biggest thing that made a difference, but at the time I thought it was, and it was to care about my employees as people. And that sounds really obvious, but what I found is that pay and hours and all that type of stuff, benefits, that it really comes secondary to feeling like they're cared about and they're valued. And no employee wants to take a pay cut. Pay matters. We'll get into that. But at the end of the day, if you don't feel respected, you don't feel valued, are you going to respect and care about the company that you're working for? How good of a job are you going to do when it's just a financial transaction, and you pay me and I do this, and you pay me the minimum, so I do the minimum? So caring about employees, of course, is huge. And what that means with us is very simple stuff. I know why my employees have an extra job, what they use that extra income for, what's going on in their lives. Do they have kids? Do they have a parent that they're taking care of? If something happens, I actually had an employee that had a stroke, and the very next day I was there visiting them at the hospital, and along with his wife, we brought him some flowers, and that employee, that relationship, not just with him, but really with his family, it was on a totally different level. He knew that, I wasn't just like, hey, are you going to show up to work? But genuinely cared about him. And which, by the way, he didn't have a stroke while it worked for me or anything. it was something else, and he's doing much better now. So caring about your employees as people, that was what I thought was the biggest thing that I learned. But looking back now, what I realized is actually the biggest thing that allowed me to care about my employees as people was leverage. And leverage is an important business topic, but I was being held hostage by my employees because I was just desperate for whoever would show up. And, you know, even if they did a bad job, at least they were doing a job that, you know, was manageable, and I could deal with, you know, the complaints and the problems. And so when I got the systems down so that I could have more people interested in working for me that I wanted to work with, and I was no longer desperate for them, it totally changed. It shifted the dynamic, and it's not because they were good or bad people. It's just their incentives. When you are in a situation where you are being I don't know how to describe it, but basically not being appreciated, not valued, but necessary, that it creates an incentive for you to take advantage of that system. So it's not about good or bad people. There are good and bad employees, and you have to be able to, you know, sift through that. Hopefully you weed them out before you hire them. But if you do hire them, you have to be able to get rid of them and have somebody better that comes in, and not just, you know, whoever happened to be ready for a job today, this moment, can start and is willing to take the smallest amount of pay possible. So what we found is we try to pay about 10% more than our competition, and just that difference, which isn't a ton, but that allows us to constantly have people, when you combine it with caring about your employees as people. And then the third thing that I'll get to, when you combine paying a little more than everybody else with those things, the number of people that want to come work with you is tremendous. And you have to have the systems to deal with that. But it fundamentally shifts the relationship between your employees and you when you have the power versus when they have the power. And, you know, it might sound cynical, but for me in my business, you know, if you're a communist, maybe you don't agree with this, but you probably don't want to do business with me. Definitely don't. But if you, you know, think that employees having all the power over the relationship is a good thing, you know, maybe it works for somebody, but it didn't work for me. And that's not to say that, you know, it's actually the total opposite of abusing your power. It's about using your power to do good things for your employees. And frankly, that's one of the things that I love about being an employer and having employees, is the ability to make a positive impact in their life. So don't be held hostage by your employees. That was huge. It made all the difference to me. The third thing that I'm not going to dig into today, I think, you know, maybe next week we'll do a video on this, but it's about having core values and running your company by your core values. And every company, every office, your office has values. They're probably not stated. They're not clearly defined. You know, there's probably some exceptions to those values where you know, well, this is how we treat most of our employees and how we handle most situations. But if it's with Joe, then, you know, well, he's kind of, he's a special breed, and we make exceptions for him because he does a good job. And I don't play that game anymore, and I don't think you have to either. When you have core values, you're able to have employees and processes and systems that are consistent and that everyone understands and everyone is held to. I went to pick up Chick-fil-A for lunch today, and the whole time I was there, right as I was leaving, I thought, man, this is the model. I want to be like the Chick-fil-A of cleaning companies, because they are just great at customer service. I mean, of course, the food is good, or at least, it's good relative to the competition in terms of, fast food. The expectations aren't too high. You at least feel like it's healthier. I don't know if it really is. And the customer service is just incredible. You never knew that you could have somebody smile at you and say your name and feel like you cared while giving your order at a fast food restaurant. If you go to, other places, I won't say by name because I'd like to pretend I don't ever go there. Maybe you can relate to that. But if you go to other places, they're talking to their friends, they're ignoring you. They basically, throw the food at you and just, they want you gone. And Chick-fil-A really feels different. And I think that's all about the power of core values. And you have that ability in your office. And that's how we try to run our business. So those are the 3 keys that I've learned to managing employees. And if you'd like my help, you want me to come out, talk about any issues you're having with your cleaning company or with your employees, give us a call. It's on our Facebook page. It's on our website, www.weststarbuildingservices.com. And we'll come out and we'll just see how we can help you. That's what we're about. And so I think that's it for today. Hopefully this was better than last time. I didn't do the handheld, where my hand was shaking the whole time. So I did realize I was bouncing my knees some, but hopefully it's not too annoying for you. All right, bye.